Hello, good evening. It's 22 hours GMT and live from the News Hub at Adisawa in Accra. This is News at 10. I'm Stephen NT. Let's begin with the major news highlights of the day. The Ghana Police Service has confirmed the arrest of the assemblyman who was declared wanted over the murder of Captain Maxwell Adam Mahama in Denchira, Obuasi, in the Central Region. Meanwhile, the police administration has dispatched a specialist team comprising a homicide squad, the crime scene management and action units of police operations from the headquarters to Denchira, Obuasi. The personnel will, among others, gather further evidence and intelligence regarding the murder of the captain. The acting paramount chief of Yulo Krobo, Nene Adoko Tume, has called on residents of Somanya to allow the security to deal with the disturbances that led to the burning down of the police station. On Monday, he made the call during an emergency municipal security council meeting at Somanya. And the Russians and Ukrainians who are accused of engaging in illegal mining have pleaded not guilty to the charges preferred against them. The four are accused of 2 counts of engaging in illegal mining and conspiracy to undertake illegal mining activity without authorization. A survey by the Institute of Economic Affairs, IEA, indicates security is the #1 concern of many Ghanaians. 37.1% of Ghanaians want the government to focus on fighting crime and increase personal security in the country while ensuring the creation of jobs, implementation of free SHS, and improving the NHIS system. Speaker of Parliament Professor Aaron Michael Quay has given the Finance Minister 1 week to appear before the House to provide detailed information on the recent $2.25 billion bond. The Minister is also to provide full complement of documentation relating to the issuance, participants, utilization of the proceeds, and the currency in which the bond was settled. So those were our major news highlights. Remember, you can hear us on 3FM 92.7 as well as on the TuneIn app on your mobile phone. We're streaming live on our Facebook page. Up next is the big one. Welcome back. Now, family of the late Maxwell Adam Mahama has requested of government to immediately dismiss the district chief executive officer of the area. The head of the family, who pleaded with the vice president after commiserating with them, insisted the comments by the DC after the incident hurt the family.
The vice president assured the family perpetrators of the heinous crime would be prosecuted, while government ensures the safety and security of all Ghanaians. The head of the Bole traditional area, Chief Hase, expressed worry over the death of his nephew and called on government to provide adequate support to prosecute the perpetrators.
We did not like what was circulating. We didn't even see it at first. People drew our attention to it. So if it went that far, we thought that the government agents who are responsible for blocking these things should have done their job.
He believed the death of his nephew is a major sacrifice for the military.
For my own grandchild, I've brought up this way, to be killed cold-blooded. He is one of the best snipers. I was at his graduation. He got a prize for it. He could have finished all those people, but the rules and regulations, he sacrificed his life for their lives.
He deplored comments made by the DCE on the incident and called for his immediate dismissal.
Continue to plead that DCE, I think he has not only hurt the family, I believe he has hurt a lot of people.
My colleague Komala Kuluche has been following this story and is joining me via telephone. Mr. Kuluche, how are you? It must be a tiring day for you. So tell me, has the town returned to normal?
Well, it's not fully returned to normal. I mean, you still have a feel of most of the people who have visited the town with my checks. We have just moved from the town itself to the regional capital that came first because we had to follow on the arrest, so to speak, of the assemblyman and then the other people. Stephen, with the information I gathered a short while ago from my sources, it's still very quiet. Some of the people are now even hearing that assemblyman has turned himself in together with the other people. So that's the information I gathered. But with respect to the assemblyman William Bao, who has turned himself in, well, what I gather from the police and then my other sources is that whilst the police were looking for him this afternoon, he secretly called the member of parliament and told him where he was and that it was unsafe for him to come to the town. So he told him where exactly he was together with the other two people, and secretly the member of parliament and the district commander have had to go and pick him up. And then they brought him to the Central Regional Police Command, where he's assisting the police.
Right, Commandant. So let's finish our conversation. We understand that schools in the area have closed down. Can you confirm this?
Yes, that's very true. With our checks today, there was no school activity at all. Surprisingly, Stephen, the assemblyman, we understand, is also a teacher in one of the schools that's been closed down. So, but with what we saw today, I mean, no school activity at all. The kids were also not around. Just a handful of them. Maybe those ones were not going to school, but the final years, especially the BC, none of them were in school. Nobody actually was in school at all, Stephen.
Right, Komala Kluche, we're grateful for your time. Thank you very much. Our man Komala Kluche has been on the ground at Dinchra, Obuasi and Diaso for the past 2 days, and he obviously sounds pretty tired. Let's move on. The police administration has dispatched a specialist team comprising the homicide squad, the crime scene management and action units of the police operations from the headquarters to Dinchra, Obuasi to, among others, gather further evidence and intelligence regarding the murder of Captain Maxwell Adam Mahama. Presently, the police are keeping 6 suspects related to the murder in custody. There are William Ba, the assemblyman of Dinchra, Obuasi, Bismarck Donko, Philip Bedu, Kofi Nyame, Anthony Amwa, and Kofi Bedu. The Inspector General of Police has meanwhile assured the public that the police will employ all means possible to uncover circumstances leading to the murder and those behind it. And the ruling New Patriotic Party NPP has also commiserated with the bereaved family, the Ghana Armed Forces and the nation at large, whilst condemning in no uncertain terms this dastardly and ungodly action of the youth of Dinchra, Obuasi. A statement signed by John Bwedu, Acting General Secretary, also applauded the men and women in uniform for exercising maximum restraint under the circumstances. The party also associated itself with the President's call for a full-scale investigations into the matter with immediate effect in order to bring all the perpetrators to justice. The party called on Ghanaians, especially the youth, to desist from taking the law into their own hands and rather resort to due process in their pursuit for justice at all times. Once again, the statement said the NPP extends its heartfelt condolence to all, especially the wife and children of the deceased, and anticipates that justice would be served in this matter as quickly as possible and within the ambit of the law. This is News at 10 coming to you live from the News Hub in Adisawe, Kanda, Accra. You can also hear us on 3FM 92.7. If you are on your mobile phone, you can hear us on the TuneIn app. Up next, we'll take a break here. We'll be right back. Please stay. Welcome back. Now, the head of the Disease Control and Prevention Department of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Che Farid, has cautioned the youth to stay away from smoking shisha as it is more harmful than cigarettes. At a ceremony to mark World No Tobacco Day, Dr. Che Farid warned advertisers to adhere to the ban on advertising shisha or risk sanctions.
Although government has taken steps to reduce the importation and the use of tobacco products by increasing the ad valorem tax 17.5%, statistics on tobacco use in Ghana is said to be high, especially among the youth, as 3.6% of junior high students smoke. Ghanaians contribute to the 6 million people who die from smoking globally. 7 out of the 10 tobacco-related deaths globally that occur in developing countries are caused by tobacco use.
One cigarette smoker among every 10 men you see. And those in junior high school, that for every 20-25 that you take, one person is smoking daily. That is dangerous. We are urging that people should stay away from tobacco in every form that it takes, whether it's chewing, snuffing, using a pipe, using shisha, or taking a cigarette.
Smoking in public places was banned following the passage of the Public Health Bill by Parliament in 2012. Yet, shisha, which is more harmful than cigarette, according to health experts, is gradually taking over. It would be recalled that the FDA pulled down some billboards in Kumasi, the Ashanti regional capital, advertising shisha. The FDA insists shisha smoking in the open is banned.
You cannot advertise shisha use in Ghana. Let them mount again. The punishment is 9,000 Ghana cedis fine, plus 3 years imprisonment or both. And then you pay administrative charges of 200,000 to FDA.
As the world commemorates No Tobacco Day, Ghana launched a cessation guidelines to aid health workers, assist smokers who want to quit, and also adopt the tobacco regulation LI 2247.
We want to strengthen our national tobacco control capacity by incorporating strong policies into existing health and development strategies and to protect public health policies from the commercial and vested interests of the tobacco industry.
The Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Health are calling on all citizens to get actively involved in the campaign against tobacco use.
And according to the World Health Organization, WHO, tobacco epidemic is one of the biggest public health threats, killing more than 7 million people each year. As Ghana marks World No Tobacco Day, Nadima Umar Othman shed light on the struggle of recovering tobacco addicts.
Tobacco-related deaths is predicted to grow to more than 8 million a year by 2030 without intensified action. Journalist Fred Chidi was a chronic tobacco user for 36 years. He started his journey to tobacco recovery 6 months ago. From smoking 3 sticks of cigarettes daily, Fred went on to smoking 40 sticks in a day.
It was a situation where we had our seniors who would send you to go buy sticks of cigarettes for them. He asked me to go buy Embassy, but I went to buy 555. So he got angry with me and asked me to smoke it. So he lit it up for me, and then I smoked.
He says, aside the effect it had on his finances, tobacco addiction nearly cost him his family, and that was his turning point.
On this occasion, I went to the emergency room, and my blood pressure was taken, and everybody, the nurses and the doctors, rushed on me, and I felt a bit odd, weird, as to why everybody was looking at me. And one of the doctors asked me, how did you survive this? Because you could have just fallen dead.
He has since embarked on a campaign to fight tobacco addiction, calling on government to increase taxes on cigarettes and enforce the ban on smoking at public places. Richard Opare's story is no different. The once multiple drug user was hooked on tobacco, cocaine and heroin for more than 14 years. Like Fred, he is also on the road to recovery and serves as an anti-drug advocate.
Although I had been told in a way, I didn't see the effect financially. And because I had used hard drugs for about 2 years, and never saw the effects. I was getting them for free until the source blocked. That was when I began seeing the ugly side of drugs.
Richard resorted to social vices to sustain his addiction. Like many other addicts, Richard did not have the support system expected. Head of Addictive Disease Unit at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, Logosu Amegashi, noted the number of tobacco addiction cases recorded is reducing steadily and suggested measures be put in place to eradicate misconceptions about addictions, underscoring the need to seek professional assistance.
When the rehabs are many, then the cost of treatment would go down, especially if they are governmental. But the challenge we also have is that we don't have trained addiction professionals in Ghana. We have about only 18 trained addiction professionals now, as opposed to about 200 and the rest in Kenya.
I have with me Isa Ali, the Executive Director of Vision for Alternative Development, VALT, joining us for a chat on the World No Tobacco Day. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for coming. I recall very well the warning on shisha. Let's start from shisha. I want to find out how prevalent the use of shisha is in Ghana in relation to cigarettes itself.
Thank you very much for having me, and we are highly grateful to the management and staff of TV3 for joining the fight against tobacco. Actually, as you know, previously we don't have enough, let me say, legislative framework in place. Now that we have the Public Health Act, which has the Part 6, being the tobacco control measures, we've gone along to have our tobacco control regulations, and we are also putting in place so many guidelines to ensure that it's being implemented. So interestingly, as one of the interviewers stated, yes, we have some evidence that yes, the intake is reducing. And interestingly, you know, the tobacco industry, their focus is to replace their old clients. They need to stay in business, and the best way they could do is to recruit new users. So we are now seeing a shift from the normal tobacco use into shisha and electronic cigarettes, because we've been complaining of the second-hand smoke. So now they've introduced the electronic cigarette where they can at least smoke without any vapor, you know, the smokes. So that is in the system. It's
so
electronic.
Cigarettes are in the system. How does it work? Why is it electronic?
Yeah, that's the new, because, you know, we've been advocating against the second-hand smoke, passive smoking. So they've also gone in their research work and decided, okay, let's introduce another way. But no matter how, the electronic cigarette also delivers nicotine. So it still have the nicotine in it.
And the effects of nicotine.
I mean, it's addiction. Addiction is almost the same.
Let's look at the, you spoke about the tobacco producers targeting new clients. We know that in Ghana about 5 years ago, the statistics indicate that about 55.9% of teenagers were smokers. Has that changed? Has that got better or gotten worse?
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, the Ghana Health Service is still working out to conduct the research work to see whether we've worked out to reduce it or not. But the current data that we have, this is national data based on the National Demographic Survey, indicates that nationally we have 9% of Ghanaians smoking. And out of these 9%, majority are from the three northern regions. And some of us, are clear with some of the challenges.
Why is it so? I mean, I know that it's not easy to just, on the face of it, just tell us why it is so. But why are our brothers and sisters from up north smoking more than those in the south?
Yeah, interestingly, some of the reasons, available reasons, indicates that, tobacco, normally within the northern regions, we understand let me see, the socio-economic aspect in terms of the majority are within below the poverty line is a challenge. And also tobacco, traditionally, people use tobacco, they chew it, thinking that it's a normal thing that they do. So, education too is a part of it. And if you consider our setting now, a lot of investment have gone within the southern and the middle sector, but in terms of the northern, I would say we are trying our best, but not yet. We're trying to make sure that, yes, services, education, and other things are there to ensure that we reduce those parts. And earlier you asked a question about the prevalence of the shisha. It's very interesting. If you go to our beaches, our young people are now, they consider the shisha not a tobacco product. Interestingly, if you look at the making up of a shisha, you go to the beaches now, it's prevalent, it's there. If you go to our malls, it's available. The youth go in there, they put a charcoal on top with a small pack, like a cube. So many flavors. Strawberry, vanilla, and those things. So normally, in the early days, when you smoke cigarette like St. Maurice, those times, you feel some sensation within your throat. So it encourages the youth to go into it. So the shisha too is one of the key. It's a tobacco product. And according to the scientific evidence, that one cube is equivalent to 20 sticks. But our youth are actually into it, thinking that is the modern lifestyle. Let us go into it. All these are tactics of the tobacco industry.
But where are these influences coming from? I recall when we were young, like Fred Chidi narrated, you could only be exposed to smoking if you were sent by an adult, and maybe they ask you to go and light it, and on the way you need to smoke it to light it and bring it, or other means of being exposed. But now it looks like even shisha is not localized. It came from abroad. The influence.
I think one key influence has to do with the peer pressure, and the second one, the aggressive marketing by the tobacco industry. Thank God now we've been able to fight all those steps, and globalization is also part. People have been watching TV, our films. Even interestingly, our local movies are promoting smoking. But when we raise this issue, authorities seems to not to be interested in there. You see people in our movies smoking. The young ones too are watching it. They think, oh, smoking is good. So if, they are smoking in there, the actors, the villains are there. So why can't I also try and smoke? So it's like it has been portrayed, smoking has been portrayed as an habit for successful people. Which is a great misconception.
And would you say as a country we're doing well in encouraging people to stop smoking or managing smokers?
Yes, I would say that our agencies are doing well, and we are grateful. This year, the Food and Drugs Board has actually been awarded, specifically one of their staffs, Madam Olivia Boateng, for working hard, because we now have so many guidelines in place. security and regulatory officers are being trained. I mean, we are also active on the social media, trying to capture the youth, which are also the target of the tobacco industry, so that at least if we are able to educate, reduce the impact, it's going to help us a lot, because the theme for this year's campaign is Tobacco, a Threat to Development. Because if actually the industry is targeting the young ones, there's no way we can achieve our target in terms of educational enrollment. Because even going into the job market, how can you grow your economy if majority of your manpower are sick? I mean, they die prematurely during their active age.
Right,
so
Ms. Ali, we're grateful for your
well.
time. Thank you very much for passing through. Isa Ali is the Executive Director of the Vision for Alternative Developments. Let's move away from smoking. The Auditor General says fresh evidence is being gathered to push for the prosecution of metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies implicated in the Audit Service report. Daniel Demavilo says the evidence will be concluded by the end of next month, and those found culpable will be surcharged and jailed.
The Auditor General, Daniel Domelevo, gave the hint during a news conference organized by the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana in Accra. He was disturbed about the financial malfeasance cited in the Auditor General's report and indicated it was gathering evidence to get culpable officials prosecuted. He said the audit service in the Western region had retrieved some sums of monies misappropriated by MMDAs.
Claiming they have paid is one thing, but we needed evidence. So I've set a team to go back and verify whether it is actually paid. And if it is not paid, then we will use them as the first batch as a testing case. So we are at where you are calling for.
President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, Christian Soti, implored government to deal with officials involved in financial malfeasance.
The criminal aspect, we've never seen people actually sentenced, or the monies we claim have been stolen, retrieved. And I think that is where we have to go as a nation.
The news conference was part of the Accountancy Week celebrations to uphold the integrity of the profession. The institute revoked the license of one chartered accountant last year.
And that's how we draw the curtains for News at 10. Thanks for making time. Please enjoy the rest of our programs. There's more news at 3news.com. Good night.